Hi everyone, my name is Andrea and this is Kulfi, and in today's video we're going to give you the complete guide to your first month with your new puppy. Kulfi is a 3-month-old, almost 4-month-old Chow puppy who's been with us for almost 2 months, and we're first-time puppy owners, which means there was so much for us to figure out and understand and teach ourselves and him how to be the best puppy parents we could be. Because there's so many materials online, but also so much that you need to teach your puppy, teach yourselves, get them to understand, get them to feel comfortable with, we decided to create the complete guide to your first month with your new puppy. And we split this into week by week, where we give you a checklist of tasks, things and routines to do in each week in the first month of owning a puppy. We will actually start in week 0, or the week before you bring your new puppy home. In that week, you want to puppy-proof the apartment, which means getting rid of all sorts of cables, items on the lower shelves, things that they could chew and you don't want them to, home decor, board games, anything you don't want them to destroy or that they could get hurt by destroying, such as cables. Get rid of that. Additionally, you want to make sure that you set up a safe space for them in your apartment. I talked about this in our last video, the complete guide to your first 7 days, which I'm going to link in the eye icon above. But basically, you want to pick a room in your apartment or in your house where you're going to keep your puppy for the first week or 2. This will give you control over them, and they will feel more comfortable and less overwhelmed by a new environment. In that new room, before they come home, set up a space, put up a crate if you're going to be using a crate, and make sure that you understand where you want your puppy to sleep at night. You also want to find a safe space for their food bowl and their water bowl. This is usually best kind of against a wall, somewhere where when they're eating, they're not going to be disturbed and they're going to have enough space around them to kind of do that properly. You also want to pick your vet and ideally pay them a visit before you go there with your new puppy, because you want to understand that whatever vet you pick is the right vet for you. They're in the right place, they're nice and friendly, and they can really take care of your puppy. You also want to make an appointment for your week 1 with your new puppy so that you can go for your first checkup. And lastly, if you live in the UK, you might know that getting insurance for your puppy or for your dog is a massive topic, and you want to do some research into what insurance you want to get the week before, or even a lot longer before you get a puppy. Because for some of the insurances, you might want to start your policy on the day of getting the puppy, which means that you need to make your decision before your puppy comes home. This ensures that on the day that they're home with you, if anything happens, they're already covered. Some breeders might also have a 2-week or a 1 month free kind of insurance policy that comes with the insurance they get for their puppies. So it would be good to check that with your breeder as well. Your first week with your new puppy can be a lot. You will be getting used to a new life, and they will be getting used to you and a new environment, probably very overwhelmed with everything that's happening. For your first week, I want to direct you to our complete guide to your week 1 with your new puppy, where we go day by day what you should be doing on each one of those days and what to focus on. In summary, you want to be hand feeding all of their meals and using the hand feeding to start training. You want to enforce all of their nap times in the place where you want them to sleep at night, and this can be a great entryway for crate training. You also want to start your potty training on day 1 of bringing your puppy home. Decide with your family where you want your dog to go to the toilet and whether you want to use puppy pads or not. And then whenever they need the toilet, which for a puppy will be every hour or even more often than that, carry them or guide them to that place where you want them to go to the toilet. You also want to use your playtime as bonding time. And finally, you really want to start working on desensitization. Desensitization means getting your puppy used to smells, noises, sounds, people, and other animals, and either indoors or outdoors when being carried in a sling. I cannot overemphasize how important this is to raising a calm and loving dog and setting them up for success in the future. In your second week, you will be slowly getting into a routine, but everything will still be really busy and you will need to spend a lot of time keeping an eye on your puppy. It would be great if you got into a routine of taking them at least once a day outside in the sling, because it's very likely they won't be able to go on walks as an 8 or 9-week-old puppy. Take them in the sling to busy places like cafes, pet stores, busy roads, or the high street so that they can get used to all these smells and all these sounds. Secondly, in your training routine, you want to focus on your basic commands. You have your sit, stay, freedom combination. You want to start working on recall, which is great with your partner or with your family, having your puppy run to each one of you, calling them back and forth. I would also recommend starting to teach them touch. The touch command can be super useful when teaching your puppy how to use the potty bells, and we go more in depth on that in our potty training in an apartment video, which I'm gonna link in the icon above. And in the second week is also when I started putting a harness and a collar on Kurfi. This is a great practice for when you start to go on walks, and they really want to be used to wearing a collar and wearing a harness by then. Obviously, the first time you put a harness on, they will try to eat it, they'll think it's a toy, so the sooner you get them used to that, the better. And lastly, this is something we start working on day 6 or 7 in our first week already, and that's leaving your puppy alone for a couple minutes in the room which is designated for them. If you're struggling with that, I talked about this in the last video as well, work on desensitizing your puppy to you leaving the room by getting up and sitting down repeatedly, getting up, walking to the door, and slowly building up to opening the door and leaving for a couple seconds and then for a couple minutes. In week 3, you will likely have quite a confident puppy who's ready to explore the world on your hands, which means they will want to get in all sorts of trouble. You really want to focus on correcting undesired behavior and reinforcing whenever they're doing exactly what they're supposed to. This means giving them a treat whenever they're calm in their bed, giving them a treat or attention whenever they're playing alone, giving them rewards for anything that they're doing that they're supposed to be doing. Whenever they're nipping, biting, barking, you want to limit your attention on them, redirect them to the right activity, and then again be super excited and super rewarding once they start doing what they're supposed to be doing. You want to keep going on those walks in the sling to really make sure they're desensitized to all sorts of things. Think of any busy location, a busy store that allows pets, and take them there. If you have any friends who want to come see your puppy, or you have other pets in your house, or you have friends who have pets that are fully vaccinated, you want to make sure that your puppy meets them the latest in week 3. You want to do the meeting indoors, make your puppy feel comfortable, but also desensitize them to the presence of other animals and other humans in your house. By this point, it would be great if you introduced the potty training bells, if that's the journey you want to take in terms of potty training. If you live in an apartment, I cannot recommend the potty training bells enough. They're the best thing that we've done for Goofy and the most helpful thing for potty training in an apartment, and we've done a whole video on it as well. In your week 4, so the last week of your first month with your puppy, you really want to focus on getting into a good routine and balancing attention on your puppy, attention on your work, and attention on yourself. You want to get to a space where you can leave your puppy alone for a couple minutes, either completely alone or with a puppy safe chew, so that you can get your work done. And you really want to get them accustomed to a specific routine as well. Get them used to when you go on a sling walk, that's the time, and always go at the same time. When do you feed? When do you nap? When do you play? Do those things at the same time so that they get accustomed to that routine, and they can also adjust their nap times exactly to that routine that suits you and your life. In week 4, you can also start introducing those puppy safe chews that I talked about. There's loads on the market that smell great for them and they can really enjoy them, especially when they're teething and they really need something to chew on to get rid of that teething pain. There's also some great teething treats that we talked about in our treats video, which can help ease that pain. And lastly, practice lead walking. it's going to be time to go on walks the next week or the week after, very likely, depending on the vaccination of your puppy. And you don't want to be in a situation where the first time you go on a walk, your puppy is only interested in the lead, keeps chewing on it, keeps biting it. I wouldn't walk even a single step forward. The best thing you can do is, again, put on that harness and the collar like you've already been doing in the week before. Clip a lead on and just walk around the house with your puppy on the lead. You will have to correct their behavior to start with because it's almost guaranteed they will try to chew on the lead. But if you really walk with them a little bit every day in your final week of your first month, by the time you go on walks, you're going to have a much calmer puppy. This was the complete guide to your first month with your puppy, going week by week. I've put all of the steps in the description below, week by week, so that you can go over it once more for yourself. And I've also included a link to our puppy starter pack, basically all the basics you need for your puppy before they come home. And we managed to get all of the stuff for Goofy on Amazon, which was super convenient. We hope that you found this video useful, and if you have any more tips for anyone owning their first puppy, please put them in the comments below, and we would also love to answer any of your questions. You can also find more content on raising a puppy over on our Instagram and TikTok. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye!